On the edge of Humboldt Bay, in the cool northern part of California, where Eureka city commerce fades into the tidal wetlands, an unusual buzzing is about. Woodworking shops in Humboldt County are not unusual. Up here, timber was king after all, and this country supplied the redwood that built the West. But this wood shop is different in a couple of very unusual ways. Blue Ox Millworks and School of Traditional Arts is a commercial mill producing Victorian woodwork on Victorian-era machinery using pre-20th century techniques. They specialize in custom woodworking for restorations and unique architectural applications. Since the 1970s, Eric and his wife and partner, Vivianna Hollenbeck, have grown from a Jippo logging show into a millworks that, if you can draw it, we can build it. Also along the way, Eric's fascination with Victorian tools, machinery, and buildings drove him to collect and create what is now the Blue Ox Victorian Museum. Remarkable as the mill, works, and museum are, the School of Traditional Arts is just as unusual. The twist here is that this school is different. This school serves youth that have been unable to function or benefit at conventional schools. At Blue Ox School, the learning is by doing, hands-on, and as part of a team. So how did Blue Ox get started?
Well, Mary, I started working in the woods when I was 16 on a survey crew for, the very first job was Larson and McMillan. Oscar Larson and Bo McMillan. And I worked surveying until I was 24. If they would have left me doing what I started, head chaining, I'd still be doing that today. And with 3 other partners, we started Blue Ox as a logging company. We were called Blue Ox Logging and Lumber. And we started with a $300 bank loan, and when we bought a used chainsaw, a brand new choker, that's a steel cable that goes around the log, a very used 1950 Ford flatbed truck that we named Ophelia Bumps, and enough gas to get us out into the woods. We had to borrow gas from the guys logging down below us to get our first load of logs into town, and we loaded logs by hand. And then slowly, little bit by little bit, I would find pieces of the equipment I could cobble together, and then the whole thing has grown out of that.
So how did that evolve into the millworks?
In about 1975, I suppose, because we did that for 3 years. And in about 1975, if you remember back, the housing industry hit a snag. And in this industry, when the housing industry coughs, the lumber industry dies of pneumonia instantly. I mean, it's an instantaneous scenario there. And all of a sudden, we couldn't give our logs away. So then, and the bank had already sold us this building here, so we had the place. So then we went around and, to try and keep money going, we went around and found bits and pieces of sawmills around the country so that I could cobble together. I was always the mechanic of the group, the builder, and cobbled together a sawmill. And then we started selling rough boards. And for the farmers, they'd use them for chicken coops or fencing, like that. And then I thought, geez, if we got a planer, we could get more money for our boards and have a bigger market to sell them. And so I heard of a planer in the Blackberries outside of Miranda. And we got the planer up here, and it took me about 6 months to get it going. Well, it turned out not to be a planer at all. It was a molding machine. It makes fancy boards, not smooth boards. And just about the time that I found that out, because now I think the whole world's collapsed. we're not going to be able to do anything now, we're just going to be stuck with these rough boards. All of a sudden, Eagle House started, and that was a 3.5-year project. We did nothing but that one building for 3.5 years.
So how did you get into the teaching arena?
Well, as I recall, and this is quite a while back, when we first started doing school group tours, it was with elementary school students, and Eric would talk very frankly about his dyslexia and learning disabilities. So one day we got a call from a junior high school teacher who had a young man who was going to basically fall through the cracks, and she asked Eric if he could do anything, if he could work with this young man. His name was Brad Hooper, and Eric worked with him for, I don't know, a year or more, and we're still in touch with him. He called us at Christmas and let us know how he's doing there in Texas. He's working with a roofing company, and he has a child. And he basically told Eric that he doesn't know what his life would have been if he hadn't been able to come here and learn how to work. It turned his life around. So that was really, really nice for Eric. So then we just kept working informally with different kids. We were approached by an old classmate of Eric's who ran a program called Workability, where the kids could get paid for coming. So we had several Workability kids, and then when they finished the 100 hours that they were allotted, then we just kind of kept them here. And one of the kids we set up with his own business. He did blacksmithing. His name was Duel. And then, so we did that for about 10 years. Oh, and then we got the grant for the boat. That was with the Forest Service. And the kids worked on building our scow sloop with all hand tools. And then we were approached by a school teacher, and we set up the community school program, which is a program through the Humboldt County Office of Education. Basically it's a alternative school within the school system. So the kids come here and do all kinds of hands-on projects, and then they go to the classroom side and do the academic stuff, and it all ties together.
So what's different about Blue Ox School?
Well, we are very, very different. There's a lot of different things here at Blue Ox. I think the main thing is that this is not a fabricated reality. A school, by definition, is apart from the rest of society. Here, the public comes and goes. We are a production shop, and there's products going out the door, things happening all the time. And so it's real life, and it's happening, and it's not pretend, and it has real consequences. I think that's really, really major. Because it's a small group, and because all of us here, all of our staff, not just Eric and I, but everybody that works here is very committed to being a part of the program, working individually with the kids. We're all really committed to what we have happening here. We have a lot of hands-on stuff, so the kids get to get right in there and do it. They're not just watching, they're not just reading about it in a book. And a lot of people are hands-on learners, so they actually process information through moving.
Doing it?
From actually doing it, so it's really vital for those kinds of kids. I think Eric will mention this, that part of the magic here is that when the public comes through, they're the ones who don't know. They are less knowledgeable about what we're doing than our kids are. So our students get to explain to the public what they're doing. They get to be the ones in the know.
Is there a common element that Blue Ox students share?
There's several. Most of our kids have had difficulties fitting into the regular school system. Some of it has to do with styles of learning. You know, they got to keep moving, they can't sit still. Some of them have learning disabilities. Some of them have had challenges in their home fronts where it hasn't been real stable, and so they've had a lot of truancy issues. Another thing that we've noticed that we didn't know at the beginning, and our daughters pointed this out when they went to high school, a lot of kids when they are in junior high and high school work really hard to mold themselves into what they perceive they're expected to be socially. Mm-hmm. The whole peer pressure thing is very, very strong. And our kids don't have that. They're for real. They just come right out, they say who they are, what's going on, what they think. And so you don't have to wade through layers of masks to get to who they really are. And that's been very powerful, really, really exciting.
So they're not really trying to conform to expectations so much as...
Now, we had another group of community school students come and visit us one day. It was just just a visiting day. And you could really see the difference between those kids and our kids. Those kids were in the persona mode to the nth degree. They were trying so hard to be tough and cool and impenetrable, you know. And our kids have broken through all of that. Now, we are in our 9th year with the community school students, and so since the first group of kids, a lot of them were here for 4 years with us. Each year there are new students, but there are some returning students, and there is a sense of loyalty and ownership with all of our kids that they pass on to the next group of kids coming up. And if the group of kids coming up cause problems at all, or don't respect Eric and I and this facility and the program, the kids don't put up with that. It's real powerful. Yeah.
So they're proud.
They're very proud. Yeah.
They've finally done something of their own.
Well, I'll give you an example. It's just happened just the other day. We have a new person in the office, and he had been there. It was his second day. And one of the kids walked in and says, "So, Jack, how's it going? Are you enjoying working here?" This is somebody he doesn't even know. He just took it upon himself to help him feel welcome.
Engage.
Yeah. Then that's typical. That's very common. Those kinds of, like we were saying, it's not adults here and kids here. We're all working together.
Okay, my name's Sarah, and I love the Blue Ox. I've been coming here for about 1.5 years now, and I come to the Blue Ox every single day, 15 minutes early, because I have no life outside of school. I was joking. Vivianna's been teaching me how to give tours, so that's what I've been doing lately, is giving tours to the people. I get paid for it, so it kind of helps me out. And I like to do ceramics a lot. I've only done the lathe and blacksmithing twice because I'm not good at it. But yeah, so basically I just work with the horse and the donkey, Jackson and Principe, and I work in the ceramic shop and I give tours to people who come through. So that's what I do. What I like about giving tours is I like to include the history. I like people to know. I want them to know more about this place so that they can tell their friends and people come back. And I like just walking around. Helps me get out of class. I'm the only one that's really trained in it so far, so I'm the only one that gets to do it, which is kind of a privilege.
My name is Marcus Magnuson. What I like about Blue Ox is that there's just so much stuff you can do: blacksmithing, woodworking, you even got cooking, you even got ceramics. Just a lot of fun stuff to do.
What you made it in?
How's it going? We made it in 3 different bowls. We made the crust. We cut up all the ingredients on the cutting board, and we separated them and put the crust in for 3 to 5 minutes before we cooked the pizza. And then we put all the ingredients on and left it in for about 15 minutes, and it's done. It's about a medium-sized pizza.
What kind of an oven did you use to cook?
We used an earth oven. It's a sand, straw, and mud, and it holds the heat in for about a half an hour. Now that the temperature's gone down about 100 degrees, we're gonna cook cookies in it.
And how did you get the oven hot?
We put a wood fire inside and let it burn till it got down to coals. When the coals were going out, we pulled them all out, brushed it out, and put the pizza in, and there we go.
That's good.
Nice.
So this is the plans for Blue Ox now. This is the village site here. This is the 12 acres next door to us. And we're working on trying to get this piece of property. And then the idea is to bring in, I've already got 3 buildings, 1 there and 2 behind us over here that are old Victorian houses that we've moved on site. Move those buildings up to this and create a main street about where the geese are over there. And each one of those buildings will become a different shop. We'll have the leatherworking, We'll have a village blacksmith, because you would have had a village blacksmith, and then the blacksmith down here would have been a mill blacksmith. Have the apothecary up here, move the print shop up here. It'll be all these trades of the turn of the century, the way that they were done.